here we are today, where I talk out against drugs and psychiatric abuses, of electric shocking people, okay, against their will, of drugging children with them not knowing the effects of these drugs. Do you know what Adderall is? Do you know Ritalin? Do you know now that Ritalin is a street drug? Do you understand that?
The difference is, this was not against her will, though. But this wasn't against Brooke's will.
Matt, I'm asking you a question.
I understand there's abuse of all of these things.
No, you see, here's the problem. You don't know the history of psychiatry.
What happens when an interviewer pushes too far? Some stars crumble, some lose their cool. Tom Cruise? He doesn't do either. He silences them. In the next few minutes, you'll see 10 moments where Cruise uses sharp questions, calm authority, and unexpected confidence to take back the room. These aren't angry outbursts, they're calculated moves. And by the end, you'll realize he's not just a movie star, he's one of the most controlled public figures alive. The best part? Each moment is more shocking than the last, and you won't guess who folds first. Number 1, The Ellen Show Standoff. On Ellen's stage, the setup was meant to be simple. A cheerful question tossed with a grin. Britney or Christina? Most guests would shrug, laugh, maybe pick one for the sake of the joke. But Cruise didn't take the bait. He answered with a flat refusal, no wink to the audience, no playful spin. The silence after his words was sharper than a punchline. Ellen leaned in, expecting a little charm to smooth it out, but what she got instead was a firm wall. The refusal wasn't awkwardness, it was control. Cruise wasn't defensive, he was deliberate. He showed that even in the middle of a daytime talk show, there are lines he won't let others cross. The effect was immediate. The laughter in the room dimmed, the air shifted, and everyone watching had just been given the first lesson: boundaries. Number 2, Clash with Matt Lauer. It happened on live television, and it started with Matt Lauer pressing Tom Cruise about Brooke Shields and her decision to use medication. At first, the conversation looked like a normal interview, but that changed quickly when Cruise stopped agreeing with the framing. He pushed back, insisting the facts weren't accurate, and the tension in the room spiked. Instead of dodging, Cruise leaned further in. His tone shifted, less casual, more like a teacher trying to correct the record. He went into explanations, pulling from history and medicine, determined to show that Lauer's position lacked depth. What caught viewers off guard was how the balance flipped. By the end of the interview, Lauer looked uneasy, relying on questions that felt thin. Cruise wasn't cornered. He was standing his ground, leaving the anchor struggling to recover. Number 3, Drawing the Line with Peter Overton.
Was Nicole the love of your life?
What do you mean, Peter?
You were married for 10 years.
Listen, we raised children. How do you answer that? How do you answer that question? She's someone that I plan on getting married again.
It began calmly enough. Peter Overton sat across from Tom Cruise during a television interview when he moved into dangerous territory. The question was personal, not professional. Was Nicole Kidman the love of his life? The tone of the room shifted instantly. Cruise's expression hardened as he stared directly at Overton and said, "You're stepping over a line now." That one sentence was enough to freeze the moment. He didn't raise his voice, and he didn't insult the interviewer. Instead, he drew a boundary with clarity. Cruise acknowledged his past, showing respect, but his private life remained off limits. The change was immediate. Overton backed down, his authority evaporating under Cruise's quiet pressure. The message to everyone watching was clear. His career is public, his family and children are not, and that subject ends when he says so. Number 4, Sidestepping politics. At an overseas press junket, the mood was light until one reporter cut straight into politics. Instead of asking about the film, he brought up Trump-era tariffs and suggested they could affect international box office numbers. A room built for movie promotion was suddenly balanced on a political edge. If Cruise had taken the bait, even a short comment could have turned into headlines. But he didn't. He sat with the question for a moment, the pause hanging heavy. His expression shifted, measured but unreadable. Then came a short reply, neutral, almost bland on the surface, but sharp in its effect. There was no stance, no soundbite, no opening to latch onto. The question evaporated. By choosing stillness over statement, Cruise protected himself completely. Sometimes silence carries more power than the longest explanation, especially when the setup was meant to corner. Number 5, shutting down a hypothetical fight. When Sophia Bella threw out a playful question about Russell Crowe, the audience perked up. She asked if Cruise and Crowe would ever go head-to-head in a real fight. It was the kind of setup built for jokes and easy banter, the kind of moment where most actors might brag or toss out a silly answer, but Cruise went a different way. Instead of even entertaining the fight, he shifted the tone. He spoke about his friendship with Crowe, about the risks they've taken on film sets, and the respect that came with that. By doing so, he pulled the conversation away from conflict and back toward collaboration. The idea of competition dissolved instantly. Bella was left without the punchy soundbite she likely hoped for, and the audience was left with Cruise's reminder: friendship isn't a spectacle. Number 6, the infamous water prank.
It's got a family. It's got the journey of this family. Yes.
On the red carpet, Cruise was mid-interview when it happened. A man posing as a reporter lifted a trick microphone and squeezed, squirting water straight into his face. For a split second, the crowd held its breath. This was Tom Cruise, one of the biggest stars alive, suddenly drenched on live camera. People braced for fury, maybe cursing, maybe walking off. But that's not what they got. Cruise didn't storm away. He stopped, locked eyes with the prankster, and pulled him back in. Over and over, he asked the same pointed question: why would you do that? He drained the act of any laughter, forcing the man to own it. Finally, after breaking through the awkward silence, Cruise labeled him a jerk, and with that, the scene ended. Not as comedy, but as a verdict everyone around him accepted. Number 7, rejecting anonymity fantasies. During one press sit-down, the interviewer tried to get playful, asking Cruise a Mission Impossible style question. If he could wear a mask and pass as an average person, would he do it? The crowd was ready for a laugh, but layered inside that question was a trap. To answer yes would be to admit he secretly longed for an escape from fame. Cruise didn't bite. He kept his voice even and called the idea of blending in not really living at all. For him, anonymity wasn't freedom. It meant giving up the life he'd carefully built. His answer came without hesitation, and it shifted the whole exchange. Suddenly, the game ended. The interviewer had nowhere left to go, while Cruise's response reinforced one truth: he doesn't dream about being anyone else. To him, being Tom Cruise is already enough. Number 8, the subway story.
Are there times where you just want to, like, get to where you're gonna go? And can you even, like, could you get on public transportation or go to a museum?
Look, I'm ready for whatever's gonna happen. So I don't change my life, but look, I like talking to people.
On Jimmy Kimmel Live, the setup looked innocent enough. Kimmel teased Cruise about how different his life must be and how someone at his level couldn't possibly understand public transport anymore. The sting in the joke was obvious. He expected Cruise to grin, fumble, maybe prove he was out of touch. But Cruise didn't stumble. Instead, he leaned forward with an almost casual calm and started telling a story. He described riding the London Underground, unnoticed until one teenager caught sight of him. The kid did a double take, too nervous to speak, and then looked away as if unsure he was seeing what he thought. Number 9, defending his craft. During the Collateral Press tour, an interviewer didn't hold back. He suggested straight to Cruise's face that maybe Pacino or De Niro would have been better suited for the role. For most actors, that kind of comparison would sting. It sounded less like curiosity and more like a dismissal of his credibility. The room tensed, waiting to see how Cruise might react. Instead of showing irritation, he lit up with energy. Cruise spoke about how every role comes with risk, and that challenge is what excites him. Where some might have defended themselves, he turned the moment into a reflection on craft. He explained that growth comes from putting yourself in uncomfortable positions. Number 10, when manners returned. During the Collateral Press tour, a journalist decided to push harder than most. The questions were no longer about the film. They were framed in a way that twisted Cruise's words, turning curiosity into a challenge. The exchange grew tighter, each response carrying more weight, and the energy in the room hinted at a clash waiting to unfold. Cruise didn't let it slide. He stopped the back and forth with direct force, telling the reporter, "Take responsibility for what you want to know. Just put your manners back in." The words weren't shouted, but they landed harder than if they had been. In that instant, the tone changed completely. Tom Cruise doesn't raise his voice, and he doesn't storm out. Instead, he stays calm, resets the room, and takes back the direction of the conversation. Each exchange shows the same pattern. He controls the frame without losing composure. What could have turned into embarrassment or conflict becomes another example of his precision. Which of these moments shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more. In the end, it's not aggression that makes him untouchable, it's silence, calm, and authority, the three tools that keep him impossible to corner.